live. Hi, everyone. My name's Holly, and I'm the founder and CEO of Indigo Volunteers. And we are doing another Let's Talk Grassroots. And very excited. Hello, hello. Um, oh, we're going to be speaking to Project Armonia, Fiona from Project Armonia this evening. And oh, yay! Okay, fantastic. She's here. Just to kind of explain why we're doing this. So, we're trying to bridge the gap between people in the field and in working around the humanitarian sector, with people who are at home and want to just learn more what's going on. So, yeah, this week we're speaking with Fiona, who's da 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 da. Hopefully this should work. Yay! Hi, can you hear me? Yay, how are you?
Good and you? Good to
I'm
see
so
you.
oh, so good to see you. I haven't seen you in so long. So so everyone, this is Fiona Wolownik. I've said that right, yeah? From Project Armonia. So first of all, do you want to just tell everyone what Project Armonia does, and then we can ask a bit of background questions around it.
Sure. So Project Armonia is an NGO on Samos. We are actually a free restaurant where we feed 1,000 people a day.
That is a lot of people. And I know before that you were in the hospitality industry,
Yeah.
also doing work around, well, managing a catering company for the zoo in Zurich, right?
Yeah, it sounds very funny. So I was working as the event manager in the Zoo of Zurich. They had around 600 events a year, always linked with food. So
Uh-huh.
either a dinner or an apero or a flying dinner or something like that. And yeah, I was the event manager there.
And so did you ever see yourself going from that role to the role of what you're doing now, feeding 1,000 people on the island of Samos? It's the most vulnerable people that you target first, right? That's your priority group.
Yeah. So yeah, in the restaurant we target the most. I mean, everyone is vulnerable.
Yeah.
We try to focus on the people that can't wait in the food line for so long, because in the camp
Mm.
of some the food lines, they last up to 5 hours per meal per day. And so yeah, it's not lines like we know, one behind after the other. But yeah, and so we targeted pregnant women, breastfeeding women, the elderly, sick people, and people with disabilities. And to come back to your other question, if I ever thought I kind of do what I'm doing now, well, I think deep inside I hoped it that I would do
Yeah.
it. It takes a lot of courage to do the step. So I always had the feeling I need to help people and do something meaningful. And yeah, here I am.
And so I know that you came out to Samos in 2018,
Yeah,
right?
October 2018, exactly. Yeah.
And I know that this was on the news a lot. Obviously, the European refugee crisis was on the news an awful lot in 2015, 2016, and so on.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, what was it that pushed you in 2018 to actually come out? Like, what was the why not before, or why not wait longer?
So before I was studying, I was a late studier. I
Mm.
finished, I think in 2016, 17, and then I first had to work a little bit to earn some money and get some work experience as well.
Mm.
And then in 2018, I decided to come to Samos because I had a burnout in Zurich in the
Mm.
zoo, and I felt pretty empty and nothing had a meaning, and I didn't have a purpose, and I felt really bad while I was working there. And I thought I really need to do something good now for myself and also for others. And I always had this feeling inside that I want to help other people.
Mm.
So I took the advantage of my burnout, and I went first traveling to get back to find myself a little bit. And then after traveling, I don't know, I felt so uncomfortable going back to Switzerland, and the feeling of, okay, you have to go back to this system and this business world, and oh my God. And I was like, no, I can't.
Mm.
And back then, I remember Lesbos was such a huge topic. So I thought, why not volunteering on Lesbos? And then though I found another NGO that was suited more my style. So it was on Samos. I worked for 5 months for another NGO, and then I opened.
So I think so many people will be able to relate to just wanting to help and not knowing what to do, where to go, how to do it. Did it just get to a point where you just couldn't tolerate it anymore? Because I think it's probably something that's within all of us, where almost everyone I know wants to help people, right? Like people want to do good in their communities, and so it must have just built up in you and got to a point where you thought, I can't stay in Switzerland anymore. I'm just going to go. And as you say, you looked at Lesbos and then ended up on Samos.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are going to be able to relate to that, because I think a lot of the volunteers that we as Indigo send have really similar stories. And so what was the role you were doing when you first got to Samos? Did you know that you were going to open a restaurant eventually, or what was that process?
It was actually pretty funny. So I came to Samos, and obviously when you were working in an NGO, you talk to many refugees, and then I realized pretty fast was one of the biggest needs was, and it was food. And I come from the food industry, so I thought I could also use my expertise from the food industry to do good. And it was funny, I was here the first 7 weeks on Samos. I was here with my best friend. And I told her after 2 weeks here, oh my God, can you imagine if I would open a restaurant here with refugees and work there? And she was like, yeah, you can do it. And I was just dreaming about it. And then, it was funny. After 5 months working for the other NGO, I felt like I really wanted to stay on the island, but I didn't just want to work for another NGO doing all-rounder work. Not that it's not necessary, but I wanted to do something more. So then I really thought, okay, let's just open a restaurant. That's what you did before. That's what you can do. That's where you're good at. So slowly.
Were you nervous about all the paperwork that would be involved and all the bureaucracy and everything? Like, you must have thought, how am I going to do this? Or did you just kind of ignore it? Yeah. It took a while, right? It took a little while.
So it took us 4 months to do the paperwork. It was a complete mess. I mean, I go to the town hall and tell them, hey, I want to open a restaurant. It's for free. And they're like, wait, what? So it was a nightmare at the beginning, because they all didn't know what to do with it and where to send me to, and how it's possible to have a restaurant without paying. So, how can they control that I don't do something shady or something? So it was like I was running from one authority to the next authority to the next authority, and everyone was sending me somewhere else. I think what helps a lot if you speak Greek. That would be a very big advantage. Thanks God I had a Greek friend that helped me a lot to find the authorities. And then it just took very long, but it's like there one paper, and at the end it was done.
Yeah. And so that took some time. Do you think it would have been possible to have done it without the Greek contacts? Like, how would you have worked around it?
I think I would. Well, how I would have worked it. I think it would have been almost impossible without someone that. Yeah, because the authorities also sometimes they don't speak any English, and it's so difficult for them and for me to communicate and to explain them what I want to do. So all the papers have to be completely correct. What I would do different now, definitely, I would have had a lawyer. So
from the beginning,
from the beginning on, a lawyer. I can send him all the papers. He translates everything, or she, it's much easier. But obviously, you have to start somewhere. You don't know the best way. But
what surprised you most about the situation in Samos that you didn't know maybe before that you came? What really was there something that you thought, oh gosh, I just had no idea that this was like this?
Well, not that I didn't have an idea. I just didn't imagine that the people live in such a bad way in the camp. Could never imagine that there are so many tents outside of the official camp and people just sleep on the floor with nothing. There were no, back then I remember also there were no toilets outside the
Mm.
camp, showers, there was no running water, nothing. And
Mm.
I was pretty shocked when I saw this the first time, and
Yeah.
there was rubbish everywhere, like piles and piles. It was mountains of rubbish. And I mean, you know how they live kind of, because you see it in the news, you read it, but
Yeah.
you're there, it's still like, Jesus.
I
Yeah,
think when you see it in real life, it's completely different because you can imagine all you like, when you see it in real life, that's when it really, really hits
yeah,
you. Do you
yeah,
think that
yeah.
the conditions have improved since you arrived in 2018?
Uh, it's a very difficult question. Well, I remember, I think when I arrived, there were around 3,500 people in the camp. Now it's double. So I
Mm-hmm.
don't think it has improved much.
Mm.
Um, I think what helped a lot that many more NGOs came to the island to support refugees much more.
Yeah.
This is definitely an improvement. But other than that, not really.
Yeah. Because when
Not,
you were in 2018, when you arrived, there was
yeah.
only a handful of NGOs and charities
Yeah.
working, and now there's, well, I don't know the exact number, but a grassroots organization,
14, something like that.
something like I'd say
Yeah.
about that, yeah.
Yeah,
Is there
it's
any
little.
moment when you look back at your time, are there any specific moments where you think, God, I can't believe that happened, or there's something that happened that you share with people normally, like when people ask about your work?
Um, well, it's not something that I usually share, but when I think back, it always comes to my mind when there was last October in
Mm.
2019. In October, there was a big fire in the camp.
Mm.
Um, I think around 1,000 people lost their homes,
Yeah.
and it was a complete nightmare. You just saw huge flames. People were screaming and running out of the camp, and it was such a mess. It was crazy, I remember. And what what really impressed me a lot, that all the NGOs, they came out, they opened their doors. We had people sleeping everywhere. Everyone worked together so well. It was such a strong team there, and it was crazy. It was, I don't know, the feeling that without us, I think it would have been such a nightmare. I mean,
Yeah.
all of us goes, and the way we all worked together was so impressive, and it was, yeah, that was
Yeah, a very, yeah, what an experience. I know that like I've worked in a couple of different locations as well across like Greece and then Serbia and Bosnia, and this is by far, without any shadow of a doubt, the most collaborative group of organizations
yeah,
that have
yeah,
that I've ever worked with. It's just that we genuinely want to help each other. Coordination meetings are just not tense, and everyone's just supportive, and we see each other outside of work, and we're like a little community,
yeah.
and I've never worked like in this environment like that's so collaborative before. Um, so you also, what's really interesting about your project is you use a lot of community volunteers, right? You've got quite a lot of people. Do you want to explain to people that don't know what are community volunteers and how do you use them in Project Ammonia?
So community volunteers are people that volunteer with us, but they are from the camp. They live in the camp, so refugees.
Mm.
We work with around 50 community volunteers and maybe 5 Europeans, and they do all different things. So we really try. So our project, we always wanted to empower refugees much more than Europeans, because we think this project is perfect to be run by refugees for refugees,
Yeah.
because we don't need a German teacher or a French teacher or an Italian teacher or something. So we can really work with the people from the camp, and
Hmm.
we wanted to include them to give them also a daily routine that they have. They get up in the morning, they come work, they eat there, they have a social life, they have their community in the restaurant. We give them a safe space. So for us, it's very, very important to work almost fully only with refugees, and they do different things. We have a coordinator. Our kitchen coordinator is from Iran.
Mm.
We have we have our cooks. They're from everywhere, from Palestine, from Africa. They're like from Yemen, from Afghanistan. They're from everywhere. And then we have people that just run around in the restaurant like crazy and clean and serve the people and make them feel welcome. We have people working at the registration desk with the computer. We have also one of our volunteers, Nemat. He's our English teacher. He's also from the camp. So we really try to give them as much as possible, also empower them, teach them some work and soft skills, and try to integrate them.
That's so important. Like what you're giving them such an incredible opportunity. Like what impact do you think that has on them?
I think it has a big impact because you give them the feeling of everything is fine. We're all the same. You know, there is no differentiation between me and you. We want to empower them, to give them also, to teach them something, to hopefully for the future, that they can integrate better in a future life in Europe. So we want to teach them as much as we can for sustainable integration. And I think it's also what I see a lot is that it's so nice, and I always feel so happy when I come to the restaurant and then we see our 40, 50 volunteers from the camp, you know, all different nationalities. They do not even speak the same language. Some of them do not speak English, but still, you know, they have fun together. They laugh, they hug each other. You know, it's so familiar and so welcoming. It's really, and I think it gives them the strength as well, because they are a unit, and they also call themselves, we're Ammonia family, and they support each other, and I think it gives them a lot of hope and stability as well.
Yeah, I think there's so many examples where it's not that it gives people a purpose to wake up, because when you've got like nothing, you know, you can't work, you can't do anything, you're just in a tent, and I mean, you can't even imagine, unless you've been through that, how difficult that is on your well-being, and how that can impact you and affect you. And so not only are you giving them, you know, roles and a purpose and motivation and everything, there's so many examples where, as you say, people look from different countries, different languages, they work together in a project, and then when they go to the camps, they then see each other, and it reduces tensions, and like it has such incredible impact inside the camp. That's a really important part of it as well. And I think that aspect, as far as I know, hasn't been studied, not in this context anyway, because it's unusual, I think, to have such a mix of nationalities, and it's quite a new phenomenon to happen. There's a question for you. How do you protect yourself when things get tough around you?
In what way is that? You mean mentally?
Well, there's no more information to the question. Just, I guess,
So I protect myself. Well, if it's this, then mentally I protect myself. I do a lot of sports. I do yoga and meditation. And thanks God, I found a puppy on the beach a year. He's now 14 months old. His name is Django. He's the loveliest dog ever, and he cuddles with me every day, and he's always happy to see me. He's so loyal. So much joy.
Yeah. You two can't be separated, that's for sure.
No, we spend 24/7 together, and he really makes me happy too. And it gives me also, like in the morning, I have to walk with him. In the afternoon, it gives me a break from work, because I have to have a break, because he needs to go out walk. So I think sports, definitely, my dog, and also my friends. Like, as you said, we're a big community there, all the NGOs, and I always enjoy having a glass of wine in the evening with friends, going to the restaurant, things like that. Just get distracted.
Do you think that's a big like issue in this context about people's mental health? And you know, not everyone does do sports and have a dog to distract them and bring them joy. Like, is it something that you see?
I'm on the island for more than 1.5 years, and I've seen many people in very bad conditions, Europeans that didn't know how to deal with what they experience. I would definitely say this is a huge issue because you help so much others that you sometimes forget yourself. I mean, I'm still learning. I'm not saying I do it the perfect way. Sometimes I also am super stressed and I don't feel good. And but I think you have to find, for me, it was like, okay, Fiona, either you find something to balance yourself or you have to leave the island. And I didn't want to leave, so I was forced to find something that is good for me. But it's very difficult, but I think it helps a lot if you talk to other people that are in the same situation. And then one is like, oh, you know, I have this person that I can always call. If she's great, I give you the number, or he or whoever. Or and then maybe you have a sports group like we had. And yeah, I think you really have to have something. If you don't, you will go home at some point and you will be pretty bad.
Yeah, and it's a really big issue, and we're trying. I think that's one of the, you know, there's not that many positives that have come out of COVID-19, but one of them is that as an organisation, Indigo, we're trying to address this issue and trying to facilitate psychosocial support and support people even if they've already gone home. So yeah, if there's anyone watching that really needs support, then please do get in touch. Another question I had for you was, what does a typical day look like for you?
A typical day. So I wake up in the morning, then I do yoga, then I walk my dog. At 10, I go to the restaurant to prepare everything because we open at 12.
Yeah.
For guests. So we prepare the restaurant with the team. I make sure that everyone is on time, that everyone is there, that the food is ready. With kitchen coordinator, we check that the restaurant is ready, that there is enough water and tea and everything that is needed. The toilets are clean, everything is clean. And then we have rush hour between 12 and 2:30. So I'm just there running around, checking that everything is fine, helping cleaning, dishes. I answer questions if people have questions. I talk to the people, we welcome them. So I'm just basically for 3 hours running around like a crazy chicken, trying to make people feel welcome and trying to do my best just to please everyone.
I always find when people ask, what do you do? Because I do so much of this, like just last minute answering questions and running around. I find it really hard to articulate what I actually do. And I'm like, do I do anything? Like, what do I actually do?
In these 3 hours, I'm just running around. My legs hurt. My brain is like mush, and I don't know. But it's like you can imagine when you go to a restaurant, what a waiter does, what in the kitchen is going on, things like that, you know. And so, in the afternoon, when it calms down, I sit down, I do emails, I respond to some other things. I have meetings, I have to meet authorities, and then in the late afternoon, I my dog again, and then we close the restaurant. We clean, and at around between 5 and 6, normally we are finished.
Yeah, that's it. And then I guess you've also got the admin afterwards. So you finish at like 5 or 6. But there's no way you actually finish at 5 and 6.
No, never. So normally we also have some meetings then in the evening, because we have meetings with all our different coordinators. So we have with the kitchen, we have meetings with the restaurant people, we have meetings, and then with our volunteer coordinator, we have meetings, and then there are also some other meetings with other NGOs, how to improve things, how to work better together, and if there is something missing, or so there is basically always something. But the good thing is the meetings in the evening, you can always link with, let's go for a wine. So which is nice.
I think
so it's
they're all like dinner meetings, aren't they? So they're not too bad. It takes the edge off having a meeting at 9 p.m. So I've got a question here for you. What would you say to anyone that wants to get into this as a volunteer or as a career even? What would you say to them?
Good luck. No, I'm joking. I mean, you need to have a lot of courage, definitely. And you need to have a lot of strength as well. You need to leave a lot behind, because I mean, I grew up in Switzerland, let's be honest. You know, I had a great job, I had enough money, I had everything I needed, and now I don't have all these things. I mean, still a great job and everything, but other than that, I mean, I don't earn much, and I'm happier than ever, but you just have to be ready to give up many things from your previous life. You don't see your family a lot anymore, and I don't know, I feel like if you start this job once, you can't just say, okay, bye, I'm leaving now, I don't want to do this anymore, and look for another job. Because responsibility, and yeah, you just have to be aware of this.
What would you say are some of the compromises that you've had to make in order to do this role?
So do you hear me? It just
I can
stopped,
hear,
sorry.
I can hear you.
Oh,
The video is loading a bit, but I can hear you. Oh,
I mean,
oh no, I don't know if I can. Oh yeah, carry on. Sorry, I think there's a bit of a delay, but yeah. Oh, I don't know if you can hear me, Fiona. I don't know if the sound's gone for other people, but the sound has gone for me. Eek. Maybe try. I can't. The sound has gone. Maybe try coming off and coming on again. I can see you laughing. Okay. Oh God. Let's see. Let's try again. Okay, so let's see if Fiona can request to join again. Yeah, for those that are joining us, we're actually finishing up. We've only got 1 or 2 more questions. If you have got any questions, do send them along, because don't want to keep Fiona too much longer, because I know she's definitely got things on in the evening. But hopefully she'll join us. And we've just got a couple more questions. Here we are. Da-da-da-da. Project Armonia ad. Hopefully.
hi, sorry.
Oh, hi.
Sorry.
No worries. Can you hear me okay? Marvelous. Sorry, I was just saying about what compromises do you feel that you've had to make in order to do this role, and I didn't hear any of the sounds. So if you don't mind saying it.
Yes, sure. Do you still hear me?
Yes, yeah, I can, but the video is gone again. Oh. I don't know if you can hear me, Fiona. I don't know if others can hear me. Sophie, my little earpiece. Not sure if Sophie can hear me. I think. Okay, third time lucky. If not, then I'm sure she'll be more than happy to answer any remaining questions. Okay, yeah, Sophie can hear me. Great. Fiona's gone. Yeah. So we'll just try one more time with Fiona. Go live with Project Armonia. Yes. Fingers crossed. I thought it'd be our internet that would be playing up in Greece, but seems like the Greek internet beats Switzerland. Yay! Hi. Sorry, we'll try one more time.
Yeah, one more time.
Yeah. So I was just asking about what compromises that you've had to make in order to do your role.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, as I said before, that one big compromise was leaving my family and my friends in Switzerland. That was for something that is very life-changing as well. And a big compromise is just when you go there, the work you do is just a 180-degree change. You know, you come to such a different environment, and you work with people that you've never worked before. I mean, for me, it's you know, the culture are so different, and the people are different. They come from so many different places all over the world. You have to adapt yourself, and also, you know, learn how to talk to people, how to behave. And another compromise is just, yeah, as I said, I had to leave, you know, I had, you know, a very how do you say, structured life before in Switzerland. I had a safe job, I had always a safe salary. In the world we are working now is just different. You never know when it's going to end. you know, it's, yeah, you have to be a lot flexible.
Yeah, so there's a bit of a delay, but yeah, I resonate with all of those things you've said. It's so difficult, and especially when anything's happening with your family and you feel so far away when you're in another country, and your work colleagues are also your friends and your family, and you've really got it's just so you, unless you experience it, it's really hard to understand that you really are each other's family, and that's it for the however many months that you're out here. So there's just two more questions I can see here. What? Oh no, I think we've done that one. So what is your main motivation to get up in the morning to do this work? That's a good one.
I think my main motivation is see all my, when I come to the restaurant, then I see all the workers working, and they're all smiling when they see you, and they're all like, "Hi, good morning," and everyone is happy to come today because they have something to do, and it just, yeah, it pushes me so much to see all that we can help so many people, and they're so thankful, and they're so glad we're there, and yeah, I think we give them as a team as well. We give them a lot of safety. Try, we care about them. We treat them like normal people. And what you get back from, your speech is field.
Oh, that's so sweet. Yeah. That's it's such a nice way of putting it. Yeah, that's so sweet. And I think the project that you're doing is so good. I mean, obviously I knew you from when you was talking about setting it up, and now it's just like getting more and more demand and more people asking for the services, and every time I speak to you, you're feeding an extra 100 people. So it's really, really phenomenal. So well done on such incredible work. And I'm going to let you get on with your evening now. Thank you so much for spending the time speaking with us. Appreciate it so much.
That's true.
Oh, I think there's a bit of a delay, but I'm going to say goodbye. I don't know if there's a delay your side. Sending so much love, and thank you, everyone. Mwah. Bye.